The present level of performance, or PLOP, has actually been changed to the present level of academic achievement and functional performance. However, it is still commonly referred to as the PLOP, and for the purpose of this course and this PowerPoint, we will refer to the present level of academic achievement and functional performance as the PLOP. The PLOP is basically a description of the student's strengths and weaknesses, as well as their current level of performance academically and functionally. The PLOP should be able to pass the stranger test. In other words, anyone who picks up that IEP should get a very good, clear picture of that student just by reading the information in that PLOP. It's very important that the PLOP is thorough and current and written appropriately, because all other parts of the IEP are based in the information in your PLOP. When I develop a PLOP, or when I evaluate the quality of a PLOP, I like to look at it from 3 different angles. I start by looking at basic best practice. Is it well written? Is it professional? Then I look at compliance. Does it include all that the regulations require? And lastly, I look at the legality. Would it be defendable if it was questioned? As we go through the course, I encourage you to use this 3-part test for each part of the IEP that you develop. When considering best practice, the first question I ask is the information current and thorough? It is never okay to just carry over a PLOP from one IEP to another. It's essential that your information is updated. Therefore, take the time to do the assessments and collect the data that you need to have the right information. Next, it's important that the information is written professionally. Avoid adding in your own opinions, like I think the student acts out when they don't get their way, or I feel like the student is frustrated. State your information in objective and measurable ways. Also, make sure that it's stated in a positive way. Try to avoid phrases like the student will not, or the student does not, or the student can't, and rephrase it in such a way that it's a little more positive, such as the student struggles with, or the student may need assistance with. Make sure that the information is relevant. Stay focused on the student's performance in the school setting. Also, make sure that that you're talking about things that the student is actually in control of. For example, while it's nice to say the student is beautiful and has a nice smile, this is really not relevant to their school performance, and it's really not anything that the student can control. Make sure that your information is concise. An IEP should be a document that's very practical, and if the person reading your IEP has to search and search to find the relevant information, it's not going to be as useful. And lastly, remember that the IEP should be used by all members of the team, including the parent. So it is essential that the information is written in such a way that it's understood by all involved on the team. Avoid jargon. Keep things simple and easy to understand. Is the IEP compliant with the regulations? First of all, have you kept your timelines? And we've already talked about this. It's never acceptable to let an IEP go overdue. Without an IEP, you really don't have an educational program. But does it also include all the things that are required by the regulations? Does it have the considerations that are required? Does it include the strengths and the needs of the student, the effects of the disability, as well as the academic and functional performance? Still looking at compliance, the question should be asked, is it standards-based? If you will review the standards-based IEP guidance document available on the Virginia Department of Education website, which was recently updated, you will see that it emphasizes the fact that all IEPs written in the state of Virginia should be standards-based. Therefore, we need to consider, does it describe the student's current performance related to grade level SOLs or ASOLs? Does it describe the students' skills that are needed to increase success in the SOL curriculum? Does it explain what the effect of the disability is and what the student may need to access the curriculum? And is the student expected to master all of the grade level standards by the end of the IEP? Of course, if you have used best practice and made sure that everything in your IEP has met the compliance standards, then it should be easy to defend. But I like to also review it one more time to consider if the important information is easy to locate. Basically, have you made all those required parts of the IEP easy for someone to locate if need be? Do I have solid data to support the IEP? Have I given specific examples and given examples of assessments or data collected? And do I have good documentation of progress? Basically, did I clearly state in the IEP that the student is and has been making progress? This is the end of the Part 1 PowerPoint. We basically talked about what you should consider in general when you're writing the IEP. In Part 2, we'll go on to actually talk about in detail each section of the IEP plot.